You referred to this earlier, but I just want to get back to it. This is the Ted Kennedy seat.
Yes.
And that, as you said, it's an enormous pair of shoes to fill. The thing that made him unique was not that he was a liberal from Massachusetts, but somehow he was able to work into the flow of how public opinion and how legislation works. This is an unanswerable question in some ways, but what qualities do you bring that make you sort of seek out the legislative opportunities and seek out the unusual alliances? What can you say? What case can you make for yourself?
You know, that's, again, very fair question, and one older voters have been asking me and will continue to ask. You start from the premise that Ted loved that job. Senator Kennedy was passionate about what he did in Washington when he was on the floor of the Senate, when he was back in the district. He really liked doing all of those things, and he understood what was involved with the job. That's number one. You've got to want to do it. I've always loved jobs I've had. I love being DA, love being Attorney General. I had never run for a job so I could run for the next job. It seems to me the problem, if you try to climb the rung that way, is that sometimes you end up on a rung that you don't like and you don't do very well, and then people will know that. You have to have the passion for the job and for the things you get to do in that job. I feel very strongly that, for instance, the first thing on my plate when I came in, I hadn't had a role in it, I had nothing to do with creating the mess, but I was responsible for looking at what the state was going to do around the big dig. We had criminal and civil, state and federal complaints. How do we get at this? A problem that nobody had really been able to tackle successfully. A problem, by the way, of where government got out of control with no accountability. One of the reasons that I wanted to make sure with stimulus money coming to Massachusetts that we didn't end up in the same problem, because I saw that mess created with the big dig. We sat down, we said, who needs to be at the table? Let's talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office, let's get the counsel in that we need, let's bring in the parties, let's do the investigation, let's get the facts. And frankly, I think we were able to get a very good result for Massachusetts. We were able to resolve many factual issues to the satisfaction of the family of Melina de Valle, who was killed because somebody used the wrong glue in the tunnel. We were able to get over $500 million in a particular trust so the taxpayers down the road do not have to pay for what is a flawed tunnel. And we were able to resolve all of those issues that might have taken years of litigation at great expense and with a much less appropriate result. So to me, that and the kinds of things that we have done in other instances, as we looked at resolving issues on MySpace, keeping kids safe, the Attorney Generals together, and our state was in the lead, went to MySpace and said, you do stuff on your sites that is dangerous to children. Talk to us about this, let's get this done. And we were successful in getting them to agree to many things that didn't involve litigation, and frankly make those sites safer for kids, particularly young preteens, when they visit them. Just two examples of what I do every day in approaching the vast problems that we have. The approach we took to predatory lending. Let's look at who do we bring into court to hold more accountable. Fremont Mortgage, Option 1. We settled with Fremont, with a judge in Massachusetts making a finding that the loans they made were destined to fail, and therefore, under Massachusetts law, were unfair and deceptive. We kept people in their homes, we got restitution for them, we went after Goldman Sachs, as I mentioned earlier, and said, we believe, we don't even know if we have jurisdiction here, we don't know what our state claims are, but we know what the facts are in terms of your role in securitizing loans to Fremont. They said, what do you want? And we said, we want you to modify the loans that you hold in Massachusetts, and we want you to work with us on all of your other entities that hold loans so that we keep people in their homes and we get money back from Massachusetts so that we can do better. Ted Kennedy's legacy is one of problem solving and advocacy on a range of issues. I don't pretend to be him, and nobody can, but he does leave a huge hole for us and for the country, and the voters have to pick someone on December 8th. And part of this campaign is about getting in and letting voters know in a short period of time what you stand for, what you've done. You stand on your record, and I think you tell voters that I'm willing to put my record to the test, I'm willing to put my ideas and my policies to the test, and ask them to vote. And that's where we are.